name is Grace Winura and this is Horse Pro, the channel dedicated to empowering the amateur horse enthusiast and supporting the budding professional. If you have not yet subscribed to our station, please do to become a member of our community. And if you find any of today's information valuable, hit the like icon. So today's topic. So you say you've been robbed in the hunter ring. Now, how many of us have heard at many shows, maybe those of you who haven't, so be prepared, but we go to a show and someone does a great round, or in their minds, a great round. They come out, they wait patiently, they have their horse prepared, and the standby comes up and they are not on the standby for a ribbon, or they're on the standby, but maybe in a position that they feel is not deserved, in that they should be higher. And you'll hear them say, I was robbed, or what was the judge thinking? Didn't they see horse XXX do that in the corner? What's going on? So we've all been around people who in some ways we would term as spoiled sports. And in our sport, or in the hunter sport, it is a difficult occupation for a judge, because although there are finite things that they can judge. Did the horse stop at a jump? Did the horse take a rail? Those things we understand. That's very logical. You can understand a low placing. But when it comes to, for instance, 20 very nice rounds, smooth rounds, how does a judge actually judge that class? Well, now you have to take a look at what is the division. Is it a professional division? Is it a beginner modified division for an amateur? Is it a high-level 3'6" amateur hunter division at a AAA rated show? So the judge now needs to take into account what the perspective, or what the outline for the division is. And then, of course, like anyone, they will have a viewpoint based on where they're sitting. So unless you're a person who has sat and watched the entire division go with that judge, it's very difficult to then comment on whether the judge has made the right call or not. Now, judges sometimes do miss things. They are human. They are absolutely human. They put their heads down for a moment and they didn't notice the horse, which had done the lead change, swapped out again and swapped back, because they put their head down to note that the horse had performed a good lead change in the corner. They look up and they haven't witnessed that. So these mistakes do happen, but you have to believe that from the judge's perspective, they are judges because they want to encourage good competition. They want to see great rounds. There are many judges who have groaned as the rider is doing a great job, and down to the last fence something happens. And you can see the judges sometimes tap their foreheads in dismay because they so want to reward that great round. Now they can't, let's say the horse stops, or let's say the horse accidentally deletes a stride, or adds a step, or misses a change. So the judge is cognizant of the fact that their job is to create fair play, but they can only create fair play of what they see. And that sometimes is a little different, because from their side of the ring, as I said, they have a certain perspective, and from what they expect of the competitors in that division, based on what the division is, it is based on what the outline or the prospectus of that division. So their expectations might be different than yours. So we look at it now in terms of the rider. And I'm not going to deal with professional riders, because most professional riders, they understand in the grand scheme of showing a horse over a year that occasionally they might have a great round. Somebody else might have a great round. The judge may not see a flaw perhaps in the other person's round, but it will swing around back to their way on another day. And most professionals understand. They've received ribbons some days where they think, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. It must be my lucky day. The judge didn't see that. And then other days they might think, oh gosh, this horse tried so hard, we did a good job. But they know they didn't see the other rounds. They're too busy. Unless somebody is sitting there watching every single round with the judge, there is no way you can actually comment. So based on the amateur competitor, and the professional who is now the trainer or the coach of that amateur professional. So number one, it is a dangerous position as a trainer of a student or as a coach of a student to allow that student the belief that the judges are somehow out to get them or that the judges are unfairly marking them. Now, in your head, as that trainer or coach, you might think, I watched about 10 rounds and our round was really good. But unless you've seen exactly every round, you might not be able to really comment on that. So most trainers would stay quiet. When you start to agree with an amateur who has far less experience than you do, and you start to blame outside things like the judging, the weather, the footing, and you give credence for low placings based on those factors, or those factors alone, now you really give the amateur a lack of true sportsmanship. That amateur needs to understand they're going in primarily competing against themselves. They need to try to exhibit in the ring the perfection that hopefully they've had at home. Now, no one goes into a ring to be a loser. Nobody enters the ring and says, golly, I'd like to lose today. Golly, I'd like to fall off. Everyone goes in wanting to be a winner. But it takes a lot more to be a winner than buying the right horse, spending the money, having talent. All of those things are immeasurable in order to make a winner, but you have to have the right attitude. And the right attitude is you go in there to do your job. You go in there to jump your 8 or 10 fences in the hunter ring. You try to execute your lead changes. You try to make sure that your rhythm or your distances work for those jumps. And you cannot control what other competitors do. So control what you can, hopefully in the judge's viewpoint and from their viewpoint of judging 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 horses in that division, you will be getting a score that they feel is worthy to that, and hopefully it's one you will feel worthy. The problem is when amateurs go in the ring, often they may be achieving the best round they've done in a lifetime, and that can color their vision if that's not the winning round at the end of the day. So you have to know that as a sport, you're competing against yourself. You have to be happy knowing you're a winner if you feel you've achieved a goal or if you've jumped around that you can be proud of. And so when you don't receive the ribbon that you think that round should have received, I think that you have to make sure that you do keep these other things in marker. Did you achieve your goal? Did you have a good round? Because again, you can't control if someone else also has had the best round of their day. And unfortunately, in the hunters, you might also not be able to control, and you may not have felt that perhaps your horse lost a little shape at one jump, and another horse who had an equally smooth round as you kept their shape at that jump. Maybe it simply is a fancier horse. That's something we all have to deal with. Maybe the competitor next to you, even though you did your best, maybe you don't ride as well as the next person or on that day. It happens to us all. We cannot be perfect, just like the judges cannot be. But hopefully you understand the judges are not out there to get you or rob you or be politically in such a situation that they're rewarding people for less than. They are rewarding them based on what they see on the day from their perspective to the perspectives of the division. The amateur who comes out and really complains bitterly about not receiving a placing that they feel worthy, and they're very voluble about it. As a trainer, I think we need to look at those people and understand that that kind of commentary is coming from a deep sense of frustration, hope to do well, frustration that they've been working hard and were hoping that everything would go their way and it didn't that day. So they're frustrated. Maybe it's a lack of confidence. Maybe they need to complain in order to feel that they've actually ridden better. And as a professional trainer myself and as a coach to many, I would always tell people that it's about competing against yourself. Did you feel you did a good job? Did you, if your horse has never executed every lead change in the class, or you've not been able to get them out of the horse and it did it, then does that make you feel like a winner? Are you a winner if you do that? Yes. No matter what the placing says, you are still a winner. Now, the other sad feature that I've seen is parents who comment. And sometimes it comes from funding. They feel that the sport is expensive and they're almost needing the horse to place or win back some money in order to compete the next week. This is very unadvantageous. It teaches the children to be desperate. It teaches the amateur to worry constantly about their performance level. And that also is really a maelstrom where that rider and that horse are doomed to failure, is that expectation of winning. You know, and parents who often put that pressure on do it for two reasons. They're either living vicariously through their children, or they are, again, worried about financing. Now, unfortunately, those are two things that really shouldn't have a place in a sport where we are fortunate enough that men and women compete equally. It is a judge sport, the hunters. So you know, if you go into that, you are going to have subconscious derailment of judging. And what is that? What if the judge subconsciously prefers a dappled gray over a flea-bitten gray? They're not going to mark you knowingly against you for the two differences in color, but maybe subconsciously they give a slight edge to the one that they maybe once in their youth they had a dapple gray they loved. This happens, and that's just subconscious. That's just the law of human nature. But when you enter a division as a hunter-rider, you know going in it's subjective. So don't be shocked, or don't put yourself out there to subjective judging and coaching if that's not something that you want. Because it does not bode well if you give excuses as to why your placing wasn't properly done in your eyes, or why you didn't receive the placing. And parents who sit on the sidelines and do watch every round, I hate to say it, if you were qualified to judge the round, you would be in the booth. You would be getting paid by the show for your expertise and your knowledge and all the hours of shadow judging you've had to do with other judges in order to be in a position qualified to make a commentary on it. Sometimes we just want the win so badly for our student in the element of a trainer. Sometimes we want it so badly for our child that it colors our viewpoint as to how we view the round. But that's not logical and it's not realistic. Now, if you really, as a trainer, as a professional, as a rider, or as an amateur, or as a parent, you really feel the judge was way off base and you are really in a quandary about what to do, well, go to your steward, ask to see the judge's card at the end of the day, or you can put in a written complaint with the show outlining your viewpoint as to why you feel that judge was not up to standard. Every show has commentary cards that you can do that with, which is absolutely the right of the competitor to do so, or simply don't go to the next show where that judge is a judge. The syllabus of your shows lists your judges. If you don't like that judge, or you feel that that judge has unfavorably judged you before and in a biased manner, then simply don't attend the next show that judge is working at. You have options, but outwardly complaining about them makes you look bad. Outwardly complaining. You have options that you can take, such as commentary cards, looking at the judge's card, or not attending the next show. But outwardly complaining in a passive-aggressive manner to any and all who will listen really just makes it to be like sour grapes. And we are so fortunate to attend these shows. We are so fortunate to be bonded with these animals. We are so fortunate to have great coaches, great competitors, great divisions, great show areas, great weather when we're there, usually, or hopefully. That why not be grateful for all that you are achieving? And instead of having sour grapes, when you feel that you've been slighted in some way, remember that slight can only be there if you know quantifiably that you were judged in a biased manner. And again, can you really say that? I don't think any of us can unless we're the person sitting right in the judge's booth watching everything at that moment, at that perspective, from that viewpoint, from that person's subconscious, from those person's eyes. Hunter is subjective. If you don't like that, move on to another part of the industry that you could be more satisfied with. At the end of the day, we are lucky. We should be grateful. And every trainer out there needs to try to support the idea of positive sportsmanship. Positive sportsmanship towards the horse, positive sportsmanship towards the sport, positive sportsmanship to the other competitors. We should be congratulating other competitors. We should be thriving. When somebody, let's say, beats us or gets a greater placing than us, we should say, wow, what did they do that I didn't that earned them that? It should be exciting to try to excel. So instead of coming from it from a point of lack, in that I didn't get that ribbon, it was robbed from me, I wasn't rewarded, why not look at it and say, what could I do better to get a higher placed ribbon? Did the judge see something I didn't see in another person's round? I wonder what the judge's perspective would be on my round, or the quality of my horse, or if I'm in the suitable division. There are so many things we need to look at that it is very difficult to just sum it up and say, I was robbed of a ribbon. I'm sorry, that's sour grapes. And at the end of the day, it is a sport. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Some days, the person who's been leading the division all year fails. And that's why we keep getting up to do it every day. The chance to see what might happen that day. Will we win? Won't we? Will we succeed in making a beautiful round happen out of that course designer's vision? Will we be able to overcome the weather patterns? Will we be able to achieve whatever goal we've set out for ourselves? That's really what sportsmanship is about. At the end of the day, ribbons are valuable because they really make us feel grateful to be there. It gives us a bolster to our confidence. It gives us an indication to how we've placed against other competitors. It should also give us a drive to become better. If you aren't winning every class, then it should create a drive to become better. If you are winning every class, then hopefully you enjoy your year and maybe move up the next year, or the competitors will change and it may not be as fortunate for you the next year. But law of averages, there has to be up, there has to be down. So again, enjoy your day. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'm looking forward to the next one.